Today I'm going to talk about overwhelm. And the reason for that is because I've been overwhelmed lately. I got some notes here in case you're wondering where I'm looking, because I really want to make sure I don't ramble. So I've been overwhelmed lately quite a bit. So there's been a lot of things going on in my life, like the man I'm dating, who happens to be the father of my children. I was married to him for 26 years, and now we're together, kind of. I know it's very odd. So even that has its element of what the F, like that part in it. It's complicated. So there's that. He was in a motorcycle accident, and I talked to him on the phone, and he acted like he was fine. So I just thought I was just going to pick him up and bring him home. But it turned out he had broken ribs, a broken knee. He really was in pretty bad shape. So I stayed there and took care of him. And then it turned out that he got pneumonia while I was away. I went away, he got pneumonia. So here's the thing. Life happens, right? I mean, we all know that, right? Life happens. When life happens and you're walking on a predictable road, it's manageable. When life happens and everything kind of in your life is unstable, it's very different. So I was thinking about overwhelm, right? Because overwhelm is kind of like how you feel when you're drowning. That's like, if you look up the dictionary, it's like in quicksand, you're drowning. There's very little or no really conscious thought. All you think about is surviving. You'll pull down the person that's trying to save you because there's no reason anymore with overwhelm. So it's really not a pretty place to be. Anybody who lives in a mess understands that word. So here's the thing. When I said to myself, and then I was writing it because I wanted to talk about it. The next sentences I was writing was, well, I'm not an overwhelm at home anymore. That's not the kind of overwhelm that I'm in. And that had a aha moment for me. Why was that? Because what happened that stopped the overwhelm? When I thought that, because I remember, I'm sure if you are in overwhelm, if you are in a mess, or you have been in my world for quite a while and you've gotten out of the mess, then I know that you still remember that feeling of, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I've worked so hard all day and I've got nothing done. Or I just can't do this. I'm not even going to think about it and just go to bed and not do anything and just watch movies and just do nothing because of that overwhelming feeling. I know you know what that feels like. So I thought to myself, well, that's pretty amazing when you think about it, because in 1 second I said, I've been really overwhelmed lately, and it's never a fun place to be. And then the image that I put up with that was the little boy from A Christmas Story. Remember him, where he took a dare to put his tongue on a flagpole and he got stuck there? That's like the feeling of overwhelm. You're stuck. You're stuck there, and there's a frenzied feeling because it's not comfortable, right? So I thought, well, if I'm not there anymore, it's gone. That feeling of overwhelm, that feeling of craziness, that feeling of embarrassment, that feeling of I don't know what to do, that feeling of spinning my wheels, it's gone. So I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. If that could be gone, then this overwhelm could be gone. What made it be gone? And then I thought, well, knowing what to do. That's what made it be gone. Now, I found Sidetracked Home Executives. Most of you know that Pam Young had passed away recently. She and I became very close friends. And, there's just something kind of hanging in the air for me about that. There were some things we wanted to do together, some things I wanted to go and visit her. I mean, she was really pretty, and as amazing as you have seen her in the book, 10 times that, 20 times that, 100 times that. All right. In her books, I should say, not in a book, in her books and in anything that you've read in her blogs and all of that. She was really an amazing person. And with age, she was 20 years older than me. So with age, she had really gotten some wisdom, you know. Now, when I read their book, something that happened for me, not only about now I know what to do, not only that, but that she had been there and I trusted her. So there's another level here of getting out of overwhelm in any area of life. It isn't only knowing what to do. It's trusting and believing that you can get out of overwhelm or whatever it is that you need to do, whatever it is that you need to change. You need to believe that you can, even if there's deep feelings of unworthy that has been holding you back or whatever, you know, these deep feelings of disbelief that I can do that. You know, well, maybe somebody else could do that, but I can't do that. It's very, very common. If we can't break free of that feeling, then even knowing what to do, we won't do it. Now, because I totally connected with her and Peggy in their book, because they weren't a Martha Stewart, you know, they weren't this, you know, Heloise person that could just say, oh, well, to shine your sink, just put some Windex and then wipe it up. Like, really? We didn't care about shining our sink. I didn't want a shiny sink. I didn't care about the knobs of things being perfect. I wanted the oven to not make the smoke alarm go off every time I just turned it on to make, you know, a meatloaf. I wanted to just have somebody come in and not be so humiliated. I wanted to walk from one room to another and not trip on the way in the middle of the night. You get it, right? There were so many things. So they were people that had been there and done that. And they told the story that you and I could absolutely relate to. And that's the difference, where the two things that we need to know how, we need to know that we can, and we need to see somebody that's done it. Now, I have now this was really, really helpful for me because I needed desperately to move to another place in my mind to know that there's certain things that I'd be able to do, because a lot of times we don't have the example. And here's something I'd like to say about that, all right? I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I've seen it quite a bit on Facebook and on Instagram. It's an ad for organizing, and it talks about trauma, right? It's like, is the reason for the mess trauma? Can you get rid of your trauma and get rid of your mess? I can't tell you how much that annoys me. Now, God bless whoever it is. Anybody that helps anybody, I love them. All right. Good. I'm great. If anybody could get help from somebody. All right. But listen to me. When we feel like there's something wrong with us, and so that's why we can't do something, it's going to be very difficult to move ahead with that. Now, I have more than one person inside of my world that has been told by psychologists that have had psychiatrists on medication, seeing people for 20 years, like being in offices, in and out, regular appointments for 20 years, that were told that their disorder, literally, was part and parcel of their mental illness, and that there was nothing they could do about it. There was too much trauma in their life. They had too much this, that, and the other thing that pointed to, this is what happens. But I'm here to tell you that it's like math. It's a learned skill. All you have to do is know what to do and then do it. Now, of course, if we don't believe that we can do it, or if we're told that we can't. Now, I feel like the reason, well, I know actually in this one particular case that the reason that I'm thinking of, because there's more than one, but this one particular woman, her name was Rose, is Rose. The reason that she was able to believe me was that our stories matched. She heard me. She knows that I understood her. There were certain scriptures of the Bible that I said that she connected with. So we have to have not only the realization that we can, and then the knowing how, but then the believing that we can. And that's where it comes from somebody or some group. Now, this I can give another example of when I was married to my husband, and, you know, he was an alcoholic and life was really difficult. And now granted, the man stopped drinking after 7 years. You could stop drinking, but you need to get help, all right? Either from some sort of recovery program, because there's a lot of dis-ease attached to being an alcoholic. Well, there's a lot of dis-ease attached to the person that's involved with the alcoholic too. So here's my point. I had gone to church, to counselors, to the Bible, to God, on my knees, to groups, all Christian kind of things, right? Like for help with my marriage. And it wasn't until I walked in the doors of Al-Anon that I got the help. Now, unfortunately, it was when we were being divorced. I sincerely believe that if I had found Al-Anon when it was like, you know, a blazing issue in our lives, that maybe we never would have gotten divorced. And why am I saying that? Because they were the specialists. They knew when we don't know what to do. It's like walking around in life with a blindfold on and all these little holes poked in it. We can see where we're going, but not very clearly. We'll bump into things. We'll fall down. Do I get emotional? Right? It's a big deal. It's like having the key to something for so many years, but you didn't know where to find it. So, if I could have been so overwhelmed, so buried in, I can't ever do anything, because you know what the mess does. It doesn't just keep you from having company over or being proud of the bedroom that your kids sleep in. You can't make anything happen in your life. You want to go to school, you want to get a job, you want to learn something, you want to better yourself, you want to move, you want to sell your house. There's every freaking thing is attached to that ism. It's very, very difficult to do anything when we're buried in clutter and we have to wash our dish every time we need to use it. When you have to use a spatula and a hot rag to clean your table, you know, when you got to empty the clothes from the tub before you can take a bath. It's like walking through life with braces, crutches, and a blindfold on. So, here, let me get back to my thing here. Let me look at my notes. So this is an answer for a lot of things here. A lot of things. Now, inside of Tidy Tutor Insiders, just last week, we did a coffee talk, and it was on the daily routine, because what we're doing now is we meet the first 3 weeks of the month. So it's all about like having a goal and sticking to it. So we make a goal, a specific one, you know, for each month we have a mission, a specific mission. So the first week we name the mission, we make the plan. The second week we do a Tidy Tutor review, something that would connect to that mission. And the third week we review, because that's the way you stay focused on getting what you want. You don't just make a goal one day and then forget about it, right? So Now, in the second week, we did the daily routine. And get this, let me see if I can. Now, ready for this? Now, this is pretty cool. I was doing it based on the theme for the month was make it fun and it will get done. And so we put a twist to the things that we hated. We picked 4 things that we hated to do the most. And we put a twist to the task. So if you hate to wash the floor, then you maybe put a twist to it, like you pretend you're Cinderella. Or let's say if you hate doing, what was some of the ones that were so fun? You know, you hate doing book work. Pretend you're playing Office. You hate changing your sheets. Get rid of every ratty freaking sheet set, pilly, crappy sheet set that you have. And break out those sheets that you bought a long time ago that you never opened. Or get yourself a beautiful new comforter and get rid of that ratty old one that you have. Give yourself something, like put a twist to the task. Make it fun, okay? So I won't get into that. But with that, because of what we're doing with Pam Young, where she had this, later on she developed this inner child, right? First she called her brat, the brat factor. Then she decided, wait, she's not a brat. She's just my little girl who, you know, just likes to have fun. So I just need to learn how to work with her. And she discovered that that's why she didn't want to do anything, because it wasn't fun. And, you know, we all know that if it isn't fun, we don't want to do it. But it's this little girl in her job to distract her and stop her, so she works with her. Okay, so it's kind of like the right brain, left brain, but this is really fun to think of it that way. So with realizing that, with thinking of that, right, when I was doing the daily routine, because that was what I chose to review for this month's mission, the Bible says that foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. Okay, so then I looked up the word foolish, and foolish means lack of good sense or judgment. And then I'm like, well, that makes sense why we don't want to do anything. If we're driven by that inner child that we have, right? Well, remember when you were little, wouldn't you eat candy until you threw up? Wouldn't you go out with your pajamas on and say, no, I don't feel like getting dressed? Wouldn't you wear snow boots in the summer, right? So think of some of the ludicrous things you would have done as a child, unless we had a mommy, right? I say that we need to be our own mommy, right? Unless we had an adult there to say, oh, no, we don't do that. We don't go to school in our pajamas. We have to get dressed into clothes. But why? I want to wear these pajamas. I want to wear these princess pajamas. Well, it's just not socially acceptable, honey. We just don't go to school in our pajamas. These are things we learn. And why? Because when we're children, we lack good sense and we don't have any judgment. So if that's who we are as adults, because nobody ever, goes right back to what I was talking about. We don't know how. Once you know how, oh, it makes it easy. I'm not overwhelmed with the house anymore. It happened like that for me. Why? Because I knew how and I did it. Once we know how and we know why, we understand, we get the good sense and the judgment, like, do your daily routine. I don't want to do my daily routine, right? Isn't that what we get? Isn't that what we get like? I don't want to do my daily routine. I want to watch TV. Now, maybe we don't say it like that, but you might as well hear yourself whine, right? I want to watch TV. I just want to go out. Oh, my friend called me. I'm going out instead. Why is that? Because we don't understand how vitally important that daily routine is. Doing your daily routine makes it that you can get everything you want done in your day done. And now you can have fun. Now you can have so much fun because you did that daily routine. And then when you don't do it, all of the consequences, like being late for that job interview, being late so often for friends that they don't even want to go out with you anymore. You know, all of those crazy consequences that we get from not doing our daily routine, but we really don't recognize it because we really had no mommy to tell us because she didn't understand. And it seems like something that's as natural as wiping your butt when you go to the bathroom. Like, you really got to be told to do that? Well, guess what? When you were a kid, you did. But it didn't take you too long to like get that, yeah, I don't go to the bathroom and walk away from the toilet without doing something first. There's something that's got to be done. We know that. This is as ridiculous as that, but we don't know it because nobody's ever told us, because it seems as obvious as wiping your butt, but it's not. So let me just look here so we can wrap this up, okay? And I really would love to see what you have to say. All right, let's see. The whole believe and trust thing, it's a big deal. Remember what I said about Al-Anon, right? That because I was in a room, they call them rooms, and I don't go to meetings anymore, but I used to for years. I went for years, and I went sometimes 6 days a week. And so when you're in these rooms, you're in there with other people. And so you're sitting there with this enormous overwhelm, this enormous problem, this something that's existed forever. And you're hearing somebody across from you talk about how this just happened for them. And this is where they were. They were where you are. And this is how they're living now. And you're seeing it over and over and over until you start to say, okay, if it happened for them, it could happen for me. And then you get involved with people and you talk to them and you find out who's healthy and who's not. Everybody isn't healthy in those rooms. Everybody doesn't do the work, right? So you get to talk to people. You get to befriend people. You have a problem. You get on the phone and you say, okay, this is going on. All right, he still loves you, because lots of things happen when you're in this situation. Like your children may turn on you suddenly. You have the most wonderful relationship with your children, and now you leave their father, and now they hate your guts. And you're like, wait a minute, I have to go back to their father because my kids hate me. No, they're just angry. They don't know what to do, and so they take it out on the person that they know will always love them. Just give them some time. What a blessing that is. What would you do to get that little piece of wisdom in that moment that you needed it? What would change for you if you didn't get it, right? It's crazy. It's just all we really need to do is know what to do, know how to do it, have the people around us to support it. I feel so much better because, there's a lot of things that come up in life like that is unknown. Like in my case that, I always thought I would just be married forever and I'd always have the kids at home. And, one of the things with when you get it together at home, right? When the first thing that you do is you get that say no habit down, because we were so used to dropping and running and doing, something. You'd have like mounds of laundry to do. You have to get dinner for tonight because there's nothing to eat. The house is a wreck and you get a phone call to do something, you drop and you run. Well, you can't do that. Your home is important. Your life is important. We have to recognize that, and we have to get this say no habit in place. Well, we could be in a place where we're not where we thought we would be. Like, let's say you're, I have a lot of people that are retired. I have this one amazing woman, she's hysterical, who really embraced, are you on here? She really embraced the Pam Young, if it's fun, let it get done. And she named her coffee pot Carla, and she has her be like a waitress snapping her gum at her, that her coffee pot goes off at 5:30 in the morning and she's got to beat her coffee pot. And if she doesn't beat her coffee pot up, went to get up before the coffee pot goes up, then Carla sits there on the counter like, sneering at her with her pantyhose, her support hose, and her tie-up white shoes, and her apron, sitting there with her big hair. See what I mean? Like, she just made it so fun. But the thing is that she worked her whole life, And now she's retired and she couldn't get herself out of bed because things have changed. We've got to know, all right, well, what do I do now? There's always an answer. So if we find ourselves in overwhelm because life has changed, because things are different, because you don't know how, find out how. It's kind of like, well, duh, you know what I mean? Like now when you hear it, it's like, oh, really, lady? Find out how? That it really is that simple. Find out how. Be with people that understand you, that have been there and that have done that. And there you go. Start on the road. And don't believe anybody that says that you can't do this because of X, Y, and Z. I mean, honestly, haven't you seen cripples that have defied that? Haven't you seen people? I just watched somebody on a Instagram reel or whatever they're called. He lives in Africa. He has legs, no arms. He's a farmer. He dug holes with his chin and a shovel, and he made himself a gorgeous garden. What did this kid go through from the time he was born? We know that it had to have been very difficult. But is he laying down saying, well, they said I can't? F no. No. So don't believe anybody that says you can't. Don't believe that you can't because you feel overwhelmed. Don't believe you can't because there's fear. There's always fear. When is it not there? Right? Talk to you soon, okay? I'll answer your comments when you write them out. And I thank you for being here, okay? Hey, did you know that I have a course called the Tidy Tutor Masterclass? I help people who are just like me, scattered by nature, totally disorganized, a mess at home, to turn it all around. No more clutter. No more clutter in the brain either. Lots of beautiful peace in your life and a clean home. So just click on the link that's in the description box or living on this page to find out more.